Hi Taurus, welcome to your April 2021 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. So, as you know, April is your birthday month. Well, some of you, the sun goes into Taurus on the 19th this year. So, happy birthday and solar return. And let's see here. What do we got going on? Whoa. Got several major arcana cards, which is not surprising for a birthday month because they can indicate a lot of, new things, major changes going on. The heart of the matter in April, the 10 of Wands. This is a card of somebody who may be working very hard. Make sure that it's not one-sided, that you're doing the work, or I don't mean one, I'm sorry, I didn't mean one-sided, but make sure that you are not doing the work that belongs to someone else, like in the workplace, taking on responsibilities that don't belong to you. Now, maybe you have to because the boss is out sick, or your coworker, something is happening where you have to fill in and you just have to do it. But even if you get paid more money, you might feel like, I can't do this. This is too much on my plate. So this may be a month where you're really called, you're being tested to be, to have all this energy in reserve to be able to do this. So make sure that you don't, go too far where you burn the candle at both ends and then you just burn out. This is a burnout card if you're not careful. And you may try, because you do have a lot of endurance, but everybody's human, so. And then in the past position, we have the Three of Swords. So this is a card of heartbreak, of some kind of feeling of rejection. So in love, be careful about trying to, that's why I said about one-sidedness, where you're doing the heavy lifting in the relationship and somebody else is just taking. Don't get caught up in that cycle. If somebody is rejecting you, then, you can reject them right back. And what I mean by that is, you don't have to reject yourself. You don't have to take that to mean anything. Maybe they just don't know how to love themselves and they can't accept love from another person. But if you're caught in a cycle where you're trying to gain their affection, keep their affection, look at that, because that can be draining you in your life as a whole. The higher message, which is the bigger picture, is the Fool card. This is, and it's funny, April Fool's Day on April 1st. This is a time where you are experiencing a lot of change. And, this card is connected to Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus right now. So what that means is that a lot of Taurians are experiencing sudden changes to your circumstances, or that you are changing within yourself a lot more than you even thought it was possible. And that can make you feel like, wow, I'm not the same person as I used to be. But that also applies to relationships. So it might be that it's ready for that, the time is right for you to be going down a different path. And because this is the higher message, you might be feeling like kind of resistant on the material level to do it, but spiritually, it is time to forge your own path. And it also, this card is an unconventional card, being tied to Uranus. And Taurus is a very, tends to be a traditional kind of a sign, and not, unless you have like your moon in Aquarius or something along those lines, maybe even Mars in Aquarius. You might have or Moon, yeah. Did I say Moon in Aquarius? Yeah, Moon or Mars in Aquarius or Aquarius rising. You might have a tendency to be pretty conforming to whatever is going on. And this is like you being very independent. And that means also independent of caring of what other people think of you and things like that. So if this is like career related, where you're just slaving away and maybe you got passed over for a promotion or passed over for a raise, and you're just slaving away, you have to ask yourself, Taurus, why am I doing this? What am I getting out of it? And typically, Taurus is motivated by money, and if you're not even getting that, that's going to really piss you off. So the only thing that is probably going on is that you're afraid of change. You're in a rut, you're a fixed sign, and you're in a rut, and you're afraid of the unknown. And that is something that the Fool card represents. It's the 0, which is the unknown quantity or quality. And that can be very exciting if you can flip the script. But, if you're in that, if you're attached to your comfort zone and you don't want to go out of it, then it makes it really hard to appreciate what the unknown can bring you. What crosses you is the Judgment card. And so, what came in my head? Mars and Aries. So if you are a Taurus with Mars and Aries, watch out for making sure your judgment, or even like a Moon in Aries, watch out that your judgment is not negatively impacted by having an emotional nature or an impatient nature where you just want to make something happen. You just like quit in a huff. And because usually Taurus is a very cautious sign and a very, you're usually, like I said, adverse to change. So you're not going to just do something suddenly. But if somebody pushes you far enough, you could do just that. And that might be something that you do because you just tolerate the injustice over, for a length of time. And then you're just like, okay, I'm done. Actually, what's coming in is the 8 of Cups. Leaving what no longer serves you is fulfilling in your life. Searching for meaning in your life. And I think with Uranus in your sign, that's another influence of that. Because, and of course, Pluto is trining your sun or ascendant as well. So that is always supportive of change. And Pluto is in your 9th house, so it affects your life philosophy. So becoming more, maybe even becoming more involved in spiritual matters as a whole could be here, because the cups relate to the intuitive side of life, the water element. And so the point being that maybe you've been doing something that is no longer energetically compatible with you. It was really funny. You know what it reminded me of? I belonged to this meditation group years ago. And I don't know how we got into the topic of what we do for a living, or, talking about things like that. And there was a man who was there, and the leader of the meditation asked him, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "I'm a butcher." That didn't go over really well with her, because, this organization was, you were a vegetarian, to belong to this spiritual group and stuff like that. I don't know why that came into my head, but I think of that. I always say Taurus, meat and potatoes, that very traditional kind of a diet, traditional kind of way of living, very simple, nothing fancy, things like that. And yet, when you expose yourself to new things, you start to veer off into other directions, and you say, okay, that was where I was at then, and now I'm progressing. I'm going into different areas, and that includes relationships, admitting, that the 10 of Wands, the struggle is real. It's not saying that you have a fake struggle that you're just creating, but in a certain way, you are participating in something that is almost like rearranging the chairs on the Titanic, where you might be in a relationship with somebody that you're trying to save, but the ship is sinking regardless. And you're the last to know, because you might just be like, it's not even the classic being in denial like a Pisces person or something like that. With Taurus, it's more like stubbornness. Look, I'm going to will this into being. I'm not going to accept that this person is not, is rejecting me. I'm going to will it into being. And you can't do that. You cannot do to people what you do with, like even like career objectives, where you can just be persistent, and then you finally get what you want. Matters of the heart are a little bit more delicate, and you have to have a lot more ability to kind of sit and not always have to push it forward, but you have to just be. The outcome, the Chariot card, this is a card connected to Cancer. So, I mean, even with the Eight of Cups, that could be, somebody who is a Cancer who is the right person for you. Maybe they're more spiritual. Perhaps you were with an air sign like an Aquarius or a Libra or a Gemini, and you just didn't have that emotional bond, and this other person you do. But for some reason, this other person, you're going to have to trust in the universe, because you might be the kind of person who is very wary of new things. And if somebody else is kind of like somebody you've been dealing with for a long time, this might be like a whole new chapter in your life. So in any case, I hope that this resonated, Taurus. And if you would like a personal reading, I do a lot of astrology readings, and I have specials for double readings, so that, if you like the tarot, but you also want to get a natal chart interpretation, there's like a special price for that. And or if you really like the natal chart, like a double reading of transits, like 2-hour-long readings for a special price, because it's there's so much there. I mean, when I do combination of tarot, the one that I've always offered has been chart and analysis, like 1-hour readings. And even, sometimes I've gone well over the time limit, because there's just so much there. It's like you feel like you haven't even scratched the surface. And I was splitting it in half like that. So it was a little bit less than what I wanted to offer. So it just gives more options. The link is below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thank you. Bye.